Hi, I'm Shauna Sever, and today I'm making homemade pretzel buns using my Kenmore Elite OVATION stand mixer. So I'm going to start by putting my ingredients right into the mixer with this funnel attachment here. We've got the whisk attachment on the mixer, and we're going to start with warm water, just right in. We always want to start with warm water in yeast-based recipes so we get a nice rise out of our yeast. Instant yeast, right in, and melted butter. Then we're going to turn this on low speed just for a minute so everything can start to mix up. All right, so after a brief mix, we can start adding our flour. I am actually going to first switch out my attachments. I'm just going to, again, use the funnel to get this bread flour right into the bowl and not make a mess. So right into the top. Now that all the bread flour has been added, we want to add our salt. Now, I never add salt until the bread flour is on top of the yeast. So now we can turn it on low speed. And we're just going to mix until we get kind of a shaggy dough forming. We have a nice splash guard on here so we don't have any flour flying out of the bowl. And now we're going to switch to the dough cook. Okay, so our dough has been kneading for about 6 to 7 minutes. See how this is a nice sort of smooth surface like this? If I put my finger into it, it just gives me a little bit of bounce like that. A little nonstick spray on the inside. Drop the dough right in there. This mixer comes with a cover for the bowl. Snap the cover right on top of the bowl, set it in a warm space to rise till it's doubled in bulk, and then we'll come back and check on this guy. So our dough has been rising for about an hour. When I take my finger and stick it in, it's gonna leave a little indentation. That's how you know that your dough has risen. Now for me, the easiest way to do this is to shape this into a circle. And then once you've got your circle patted out, you just take a knife or a bench scraper, whatever you have. So I'm just gonna cut this into 8 pieces. I like to take one of the triangles and shape it again into another rough circle. And then I'm gonna take all these edges with my fingertips and just sort of stretch and pull it towards the center. Almost just to look like you're making like a little flower shape. And then once you've gone around the circle once to pull all those in, I take my fingertips and I just sort of grab all those edges and pinch them in towards the center. It almost sort of looks like a little drawstring purse almost. Kind of think of that when you're shaping. So once we get all of those edges pinched in, flip it over one more time. I take my hand, cup it over the ball, and then just round it out like this. So I'm gonna set these aside, and it's the perfect amount of time for me to start boiling my special solution to take these pretzel buns into something kind of bland looking and making them look all pretzel-y in the oven. I've got a pot of boiling water here, at least 2 quarts. I've brought it up to a boil, as you can see. And then we're gonna add 2 magical ingredients that will turn this dough into that really incredible glossy brown pretzel crust that we all crave. So those 2 ingredients are baking soda, about a 1/4 cup, and then we add a little bit of sugar, 2 tablespoons. And you can kind of feel with the spoon when all of the baking soda and sugar is dissolved. It just takes a few seconds. And this becomes the boiling solution for our pretzel buns. So this part is really fun. And then I'm just really carefully gonna drop just a couple. I think I can do 3 at a time in this pot. So once the buns have been boiling for 20 seconds, 30 seconds on each side, just lift them very carefully with your spatula. Let any excess water drain off the bottom and place them onto your baking sheet. They'll be a little kind of wrinkly, a little bit sticky. That's how they're supposed to be. That's how we'll get that texture and that outer crust when we bake them. So all the pretzel buns have been boiled. Now we just have to finish them off and get them into the oven. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of egg wash. This is just an egg beaten with a tablespoon of water and a little bit of salt until it's nice and smooth. Take a pastry brush, just brush all over the surface of each bun. Now just for decoration and a little bit of contrast on the top of each bun, I'm gonna take a knife. You can also do this with kitchen scissors if you like. And I'm just gonna make a slash, like an X, in the top of each bun. And don't worry if the X kind of mushes together as you're cutting. It'll all open up when it rises in the oven. And of course, the finishing touch. You can't have a pretzel without that special coarse pretzel salt. and just give a little sprinkle on the top of each bun. We've got our oven preheating, 400 degrees, 20 to 25 minutes. They're gonna look nice and deeply golden brown and glossy. And here they are, totally beautiful golden homemade pretzel buns. Now you can eat these straight up with butter, which is my personal favorite, but today I'm actually gonna slice these up and use them as hamburger buns. But however you eat them, it's always made simple in the Kenmore Elite Ovation Stand Mixer.